but I just finished my first read of Bookopolathon, which was the Crowns. What was it? Wow. Why are we matching right now?
I don't know, I noticed that too. It's kind of cute.
And then I was just waiting for the next roll drops to drop. Roll drops? Blah, blah, blah. All of those types of shows, things that have to do with detectives solving murders. The light just got really bright. Can you see that? Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with a 48-hour Bookopolathon reading vlog. So if you guys are not aware what I mean when I say Bookopolathon, I will leave the announcement video down below, but this is a 48-hour readathon that is based on Becca from Becca in the Books TBR game, Bookopoly. She did a 48-hour one about this time last year, and then she also did like I think a full month last summer sometime. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's basically where you get prompts from her Bookopoly boards, and she has quite a few, and so she'll roll 2 every 12 hours, and you get to pick one, and in theory by the end of the weekend you will have read 4 books. So that's what I'm trying to do. She has 2 boards, like I said, that she rolls from, a very, very generic one and a more kind of harder topic, I guess, one that's more tailored towards her. So if you don't read like her, it's harder for you to pick books. But we have already received our first 2 prompts. We're going to receive the next 2 at the 12 hours in, but I'm starting this a little bit early. I'm debating on whether or not I want to start it on my time, which would be midnight Saturday mornings, or if I want to start it at 8 p.m., which would be 12 a.m. UK time. So like, do I want to do UK time or do I want to do like my time? I'm thinking doing it like UK time is going to win, which would be 8 p.m. tonight, Friday, to 8 p.m. Sunday night. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I did so great last year. I'm really excited about this again. I'm obviously not going to be staying up for 48 hours straight. That stresses me out, but I will be doing kind of like a weekend vlog for this readathon. But I will talk you through kind of the first 2 prompts. I'm going to try to see if I can do all 8, if there's a way for me to like double up on prompts. For example, the first 2 prompts were to read a book with a dark cover or to read a fantasy, and it just so happens that I'm reading a book that fits both of those prompts, and that is The Crowns of Croswald by D.E. Knight. This is a middle grade book that I received an e-copy of by the publisher for review of this book, and it's on my Kindle. I'm trying to remember exactly how far I am. I think I'm 73, look at me, 73% of the way through this book, so I am allowed to use books that I'm in the middle of reading as well for this readathon. So I've put off reading this book kind of today so that I can use it for the readathon. So in theory, I will be able to finish it relatively quickly, and then we'll get the next 2 rolls at about 8 a.m. tomorrow, which I'm probably going to sleep through, but we'll look at when I wake up, and then we can go from there. So that's really my only update right now. I wanted to make sure I started this vlog before it got too late, because I'm not sure when I'm going to actually start reading for this. Like, I don't know if I'm going to start right at 8 or if I'm going to wait a little bit to be like bedtime to actually start, but I think I'm going to do somewhere in there. But that's the plan. I'm going to take you along with me. I hope you enjoy this tiny, tiny vlog. I'm excited. Let's go. Saturday afternoon. Now I think I'm trying to look like I have a clock in here, and I don't. It's Saturday afternoon, but I just finished my first read of Bookopolathon, which was The Crowns of Croswald, which I was reading before I started this. I read a little bit last night, but I finished it today. It got 4 stars from me. I actually really enjoyed it, and I've realized I didn't tell you a thing about it yesterday when I was telling you that I was reading it. But this is a very hard book to explain, but it's a middle grade book that takes place in this fictional fantasy world called Croswald, and if I can understand correctly, the magic system is a little confusing to me, but if I can understand correctly, you have kind of 2 types of people. You've got like the royals, and then you have what is called a scrivener, and a scrivener is a, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is a like magical person who basically serves the royal family, but is like their magic comes from this kind of feathered quill, and they write down all the stories, and they can use their quill to like help out the family. It's basically like this quill is a magic wand, is kind of how I think about it, but the scriveners have photographic memories, and they are tied to whatever family they are assigned to. But this book follows our main character, Ivy, who is basically like a maid in this world, and she ends up going to a magical school where both royal and scriveners are together learning how to be royal and scrivener, and the royals have crowns, and each crown has a specific stone in it, and each stone gives them powers. So like the royals have powers as well. We're following Ivy, who's basically at the school for the first time, and she's trying to figure out why she is a maid all of a sudden is going to a magic school and how that makes sense, and you know, learning a little bit about her background as well. So this was really good. I'm gonna do a full-on review because I was gifted this ebook in exchange for an honest review, so I'm gonna do it on like Goodreads and Instagram, so by the time you see this it'll probably be up. But I really enjoyed it. It felt very simplistic in the writing. There wasn't anything incredible about the writing, and if I hadn't been gifted this to read, I might have given up because it took me about half of the book to actually get interested in it, because the first half is we're learning about this world, and I was still confused for most of it, and then the second half we're actually getting more into like a mystery element, and that was interesting. So I liked the mystery aspect of it that surrounded Ivy, but the first half was a little rough, and I don't know, I'm not quite sure what it was that was rough for me, but there was just parts of it that didn't quite work, but by the end it was very good. And this is the first in a trilogy, so this one came out many years ago, and then the second one is out. The third one comes out this year, I want to say. So I will continue. I do have access to the second book, which I will continue at some point. But yeah, it was really good. I actually did enjoy it. But that means that we can now look at the next 2 prompts in the readathon, because I was able to finish the first 2 for the first round within 1 book. So fingers crossed we can do that with the second one. So we have rule number 3 is to read a book with POC rep, so featuring a character of color or written by an author of color, or 4, which is to read a contemporary. Oh, I've got the perfect one. So I am actually going to pick up Once Ghosted, Twice Shy by Alyssa Cole. This is one of her novellas that takes place between the second and third book in her Reluctant Royals series. This both has POC main character, written by a POC author, and is a contemporary, so I'm able to fit both of those in 1 prompt. I'm very excited. So this follows our main character, Lakatsi, who was, I don't even know what the right title is, but I interpret her title as like the private secretary to the prince from the very first book, A Prince in Theory. So she is like his little private secretary. When they're in New York in the first book, she has a romance on the side as well as our like main plot, and we don't really know a whole lot about it. We just know that there is someone in her life, and then it doesn't end well. And this sounds like they have gone back to New York, and she runs into the woman that she fell for when she was there the first time. And I'm excited. It's going to be super cute, super short, but I am very excited about this because I love this series, I love these characters, and I love this author. So I'm really excited that I can finally get one of her novellas in because I love them so much. Next roll drop is at 8 p.m. tonight for me, so if I can finish this today, that would be great. I don't think it's going to take me that long. The audiobook I think is 3 hours, but I always listen to them on 1.5 speed at the slowest. So this is my next book. I'm excited. Let's get into it and see what happens. Significantly later than when I updated you last, but I've officially finished Once Ghosted, Twice Shy. I finished it now. I finished this in the afternoon sometime, so it's been a while, but I was waiting for the next rolls to drop, plus I was watching TV with my husband, so I was doing other things. But I did officially finish this one. It got a whole 5 stars from me. I really enjoyed this. This was just a fun romance. It is a dual timeline romance because you do get to go back in time and see this relationship as it grew the first time, and then the present timeline. And I really liked it. It was super cute. I feel like there's not a whole lot I can say about this because it is so short, but it also is about characters that you learn about, or at least one of them that you learn about in the first book. And if you haven't read the first book, then like you have no attachment to this. So like this is a cute story, but like there's like no personal connection to these characters unless you've learned about them in the first book. But still really great, very cute, made me incredibly happy. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this because it was, like I said, super short. I loved these characters, I loved learning about them, and it made me very happy. So another one done. So technically I have completed all 4 prompts so far for this readathon, even though I've only read 2 books. But I have the next 2 prompt rolls to do. So let's go see what those are. We've got number 5, which is the first book in a series. Shoot, I've got some manga series over here that I haven't started yet, so that actually could work in my favor. So that's the first option, and then the second option is her chance card option, which is to write an even number of books that you want to read and that you don't want to read, or ones that you're super excited about and ones that you don't want to read right now, and like do a random number generator. So let's do that one first because I have a feeling that's not going to work in my favor. So I've written down 4 books, 2 that I'm very excited about and 2 that I'm excited about but didn't plan on reading at this moment. So they're all relatively short, which is great, but 2 and 2. So let's get a random number generator up and put 1 through 4. Let's see if I can show this to you on my computer. Can you see this? Maybe. Okay. Number 2. What was number 2 on my list? Okay, this works perfectly. So number 2 was one that I'm super excited about, but I didn't want to read at this exact moment, but actually works perfectly, and that is the first volume of My Brother's Husband by Jinjora Tagami, I think. This is a 2-volume manga series, the other one I've got right there, but this basically takes place in Tokyo, I want to say. Yes. So it's this guy who lives in Tokyo with his daughter, and his brother has recently died, and his brother was gay and living in, I think it says New York, in America somewhere. And so his husband, this guy, comes over to Tokyo to kind of get a better feel for his husband's family and culture, and this guy, the brother, being from a kind of not as accepting community, and watching his daughter kind of, it sounds like it's going to be super great because like the daughter doesn't have these like prejudice already in her brain. She hasn't learned them yet. So like watching his kid interact with this guy is going to kind of like open up his mind a little bit. I don't know. It's one of the mangas that I've heard about a ton here on BookTube, and I've really wanted to check it out. So I'm excited. It's a little bit thicker than I wanted, but it's a manga, so it's going to be super easy to get through, and it's the first in a series. So this worked for both prompts. How did I do that? I have no idea, but this is the one I'm going to read, and I'm very excited. So I'll start it tonight, and then I'll probably finish it a little bit tomorrow before the next, well, I won't finish it before the next roll drop, but the next roll drop will be at 8 a.m. for me. So hopefully I can get this done relatively quickly. I'm actually really excited about this. So even though this is one of the ones that I didn't want to read at this moment because it's so big, I'm still really excited about it. So that worked in my favor. So yay. Gonna go give this one a try, and we'll let you know what I think. It's the next morning. I am coming on here because I've officially finished my third book for prompts 5 and 6, I think, of Bookopolathon, which was My Brother's Husband Volume 1. This was very good. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It's probably close to 4.5, to be honest. This is definitely more hard-hitting than some other things that I have read, especially because we're watching our main character, this guy, as he watches his kid interact with a gay guy for the first time, and how like unfazed she is. Like she's asking all these questions about things that like he has questions about as well, but she's just like accepting these answers without even questioning it because she doesn't have like this prejudice that he has grown up with. And so it's just really interesting to see this kid be totally cool with everything, and then watching that impact the dad, and how the dad starts to change as well and see like his world a little bit differently. So it's very, very cute. It has its moments of like hit you in the feels, but I'm expecting the second volume to have a lot more of those moments because we've seen our main character and the brother's husband interacting more. So I feel like we're gonna have like a big moment between the two of them. Like I think it's gonna go some great places. So this was great. I really loved this. This is definitely a manga that I've heard a lot of things about, and is one that I was hoping would help me step into finding more mangas that I like. And this is definitely doing that. I love just watching the 3 of these characters interacting and living, and it's great. So 4 to 4.5 stars for sure. Really enjoyed this. We'll be picking up volume 2 hopefully very soon because this was great. But now it's time for the next 2 prompts. We've got roll number 7, which is read a book set in present day. Slightly contemporary, I could do that. And then the last roll 8 is Other, which is a book from a genre you don't typically read. Shoot, I do read a lot of contemporary. Okay, I've done some searching, and I think I figured out what'll work. I'm going to read Heatwave by Richard Castle because it is a crime mystery thriller type of book, and that is not something that I usually read, but it is set in present day. So that works. This one is based on a TV show, so I kind of have to, I think, explain the TV show. This is based on a TV show called Castle, which follows this guy named Richard Castle, who is a crime novelist, and he has just finished a very long series of books based on this guy that he created called Derek Storm, and he's kind of done. He wants something new. And so he runs into this woman named Kate Beckett, who's a homicide detective in New York City. And he is fascinated by her, and so he ends up just following her around and helping out on cases, and he's writing a series called the Nikki Heat series, which is the character that he's based on, this detective. And it's a TV show that's like 8 seasons long, I want to say, but throughout the series, he's writing these books about Nikki Heat. My husband and I are rewatching it now, and where we're at, there are at least 4, right? There's at least 3 or 4 books that are out. And I've looked online, and like the person who wrote this book, I don't know who it is, because in the back it's got Nathan Fillion, who plays Richard Castle in the TV show. It's like I don't actually know who wrote these books, but whoever did their due diligence, because all the Nikki Heat books are actual books, all the Derek Storm books are actual books. During the series, they decided to take the Derek Storm books and turn them into graphic novels, and you can buy those online too. So like, whoever did this is on it. But this book is only about 260, 270 pages. It actually ends here. So all of this is just like chapters from the sequel and so on. Because I'm watching this series now, I'm very excited about this. So I'm gonna read this, and hopefully I can get through it. I found an audiobook to help me out, because I've discovered that if I have an audiobook on while I'm physically reading, it helps me get through these because it helps me focus and I don't like zone out. But these are also like really tiny pages. I just think this is going to be great, and I'm excited. So this is going to be fun. This is my pick for the last 2 prompts. Let's see if I can finish this before 8 p.m. tonight. Fingers crossed. Well, maybe not much later, but it's later in the afternoon. 5:30? I have no idea. But I have finished Heatwave by Richard Castle. I ended up giving this one, I think it was 4 stars. This is a crime mystery book that is good, but I don't think it is good on its own if you have not watched the TV show, because I feel like this is a totally fine book on its own. I think if I didn't have any connection to this TV show, it'd be like a 3.5 star. It's an okay book, but because I have that connection to the world, I think because of that, I am more connected to it, and therefore I'm willing to give it a higher star rating. But if you are someone who kind of likes the crime-solving detective type shows, NCIS, CSI, all of those types of shows, things that have to do with detectives solving murders, then I think you will like this book, just don't go into it expecting the next most amazing thing you've ever written, because I don't think that that's what this is, but it is a very fun, quick read for someone who is already connected to the characters of Castle, because there's people in this book that are all based on characters in that show that, like, the character of Castle knows in real life, and so you see the connections in this book to said characters. So it's interesting to kind of see those connections, but without the show, this on its own I think is just an okay book. But it is a fun book that if you like the crime mystery genre, this is a good kind of like palate cleanser. You don't have to think too hard about it. But I did really enjoy this. Again, I have connections to this series that it's based on, so I gave it higher stars. I gave it 4 stars. I want to continue with more things in this series, because now that I've been introduced to these characters, it'd be kind of cool to see the other books that Castle writes during the length of the show. There are at least 4, maybe more, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. This was a good one to end the readathon with. And that's it. There's still a couple of hours left of the readathon, but I think I'm done. I've read 4 books. I've completed all 8 prompts. I would call this a success, especially with all of my ratings being either 4 or 5 stars. That sounds good to me. I mean, I'm the queen of giving out 4 stars, but we didn't get a 5 star, so that was good. I had a really good time. I read some books that I've been meaning to read for a while. I've fallen back in love with physically reading, which is great, even though like I had the audiobook of this one and of Once Ghosted Twice Shy. I still physically read them while I was listening along, so I've kind of fallen back in love with physically reading again, which is just great. And I haven't had a weekend where I've just sat down and spent the entire afternoon reading. So this was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that I did this. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick weekend reading vlog where I got quite a lot accomplished. I did come in with a book having been mostly read, but it's one I've been working on for over a month, so glad we got that one done. So overall, really, really great reading. I would love to know down below if you've read any of the books that I have mentioned in this video, what your thoughts on them were, or if you participated in the 48-hour Bookopolathon, what kinds of things you were able to complete this weekend. But if you liked this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to go check all of those out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!